Good morning, Soapbox Nation. Hey, thank you for joining me for episode 104 of Soapbox Daily. How's everybody doing today? I'm your host, Matt Morgan. Thank you very much for tuning in. It is really good to have you here for another episode. So today we were thinking about this, and I try to be environmentally sound and do, of course, always the right thing. As I'm always saying to you, hey, how is your integrity today? How has your integrity been this week? Are you being the positive change? Are you being the change that the world needs? Now, of course, I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't practice what I preached. So I try to be environmentally sound, right? Don't buy stuff that will hurt the environment, sustainability, etc., etc. Trying to be the positive change. One of the questions I've always wondered, though, is when it comes to water, and specifically bottled water versus tap water. So today's topic is going on about which is better, tap water or bottled water, and why. I figured we'd touch on this a little because it's very interesting. The bottled water industry, believe it or not, makes hundreds of billions. Yes, I'm going to say it again. Hundreds of billions of dollars a year from water put in bottles. So I'm going to go over some points here. Something for you to really think about when it comes to tap water versus bottled water, okay? So let's get into some points here, just to give you something to think about today. This is our topic for today, for today's episode of Soapbox Daily. So here we go. Many people choose to drink bottled water for reasons like purity, safety, convenience, and taste. Some even consider bottled water to be more premium, quote unquote, than tap water. But is that really the case? Let's look at some benefits, and let's go the benefits of drinking tap water, and you probably never want to buy bottled water again. So let's go into some basics here. Less waste. Pretty simple, less waste. The most obvious benefit of drinking tap water is, hey, there's no waste. There's no garbage. There's nothing to be thrown out. It helps you go single-use plastic free. You don't want the waste. So if you have tap water, you just fill up a water bottle and away you go. Reuse it again, fill it again. Saves you money, saves you time. I know it's convenient for bottled water, but think about the waste factor of it. While we're talking about waste, did you know that it takes 3 liters of tap water to produce 1 liter of bottled water? Interesting, eh? 3 liters to make 1. It sounds outrageous, but it's the truth. Drinking tap water stops you from creating more plastic waste as well, as we already said, and wasting water in the process. So it does both. How about more affordable? Here's another outrageous fact. Bottled water can cost as much as 2,000 times more than tap water. Let that sink in for a bit. Believe it or not. Better for the environment. That's a pretty obvious one. There are so many ways that tap water is better for the environment than bottled water. So many ways. Firstly, bottled water takes anywhere from 1 to 2,000 times the amount of energy to produce as tap water. 1 to 2,000 times the amount of energy. Yeah, that's how much energy. When you consider bottle manufacturing, filling, shipping, and keeping water cold in fridges, it's easy to see where the energy is going. At the same time, plastic water manufacturing releases more than 2.5 million tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Crazy, right? Compared with tap water, which releases none. And not only that, what about the plastic after the fact? Got to think about the impact on the environment there too. Drink local. We all know it's better to eat local, but what about drinking local? Not many of us consider that bottled water comes from all over the world. That's where bottled water comes from all over the world, whereas tap water is drawn from local sources. This keeps the water reliably safe and sustainable. Simple as that. Safer? Yes, this comes as a surprise to many people, but bottled water isn't actually safer or healthier to drink than tap water. In fact, tap water is even safer to drink than bottled water thanks to stringent regulations and safety standards set out in legislation. These standards identify contaminants, chemicals, and microorganisms that can be present in tap water and set at a safe limit. Additionally, tap water is also tested more regularly than bottled water, making it a safer option. Absolutely. Tastes better? Yeah. Another big myth about bottled water is that it actually tastes better than tap water. However, research shows otherwise. In most blind taste tests, tap water is found to taste better. than its bottled counterparts. More sustainable, yes, tap water as a whole is a lot better for the environment than bottled water for reasons we've already mentioned, and that stands true from a sustainability viewpoint as well. Whereas many bottled water companies that source their water from countries where water resources are already limited, there are many bottled water companies that do that. Water's already limited, and they're taking what little is in those countries and using it for their bottles. This includes companies like Fuji, Aquafina, Dasani. I mean, sad, but true. Filter to your standards. If you're really concerned about water quality, you can always buy a water filter to purify the water coming out of your tap. Water filtration systems also help with filtering out microplastics from water, which are now present in both tap water and bottled water. On the other hand, it's unlikely that anyone will filter water that's coming out of a plastic bottle, leaving you to just trust that the water is as pure as it says it is. Chemical free, tap water is usually chemical free. If you like your water without toxic chemicals, it's best to stick to tap. It is so regulated. Most plastic water bottles are made from PET, as they call it, or polyethylene. It's a big scientific word, but let's just say these components that make up the bottled waters can leach chemicals into water over time, especially when a plastic water bottle is being reused. These are hazardous to your health, something to keep into consideration. And okay, let's look at the last point that we're trying to make today. Come on, does it get any more convenient than turning on a tap and taking a drink? Tap water is always available with no need to walk to the shops, make a purchase, or even unscrew a bottle lid. The benefits speak for themselves. Honestly, tap water is a clear winner when it comes to this. I know there's been upset with tap water in some areas in the world. You read the news and stuff like that, but those are far and few between. Overall, though, bottled water companies, because bottled water is labeled as food, is not as regulated and falls under completely different conditions, which are not as stringent as the actual water that comes out of your tap. It's not as healthy as you think it is, and the prices can be absolutely outrageous. Again, the advertising, the way they're convincing you this is better for you. But believe it or not, some of the water that's in those bottled water bottles, some of the water that's in bottled water bottles is actually coming from taps anyways. So you're falling for the gimmick, you're falling for the name, you're falling for the advertising. But that's on you. Overall, though, be a better person, save the environment, and use tap water. Bottled water is killing the environment, hands down, in so many different ways, and some of them we mentioned today. Something to think about for today. So that's about it. Thank you for joining me for episode 104 of Soapbox Daily. Please check out getoffmysoapbox.com for more information on all our shows. I'm your host, Matt Morgan, and I will see you next episode.